Hello and welcome to Wingin It. So in this video I've got some gameplay which I think is a good showcase of how to deal with a bad starting hand. So the more you play this game, you'll encounter these kind of really bad situations at the start more and more, and knowing how to deal with those and how to make the best of a bad situation is so important in a game like this. So I did start the recording after choosing my hand, but luckily I did get a screenshot of the starting hand just because it was so bad. That I knew I'd be showing people this afterwards anyway. So you'll see, really, in a starting hand, you're looking for two things. You're looking for something in your forest and something in your wetlands, because you want to be able to get cards and get food, so you can get birds down and start to build up your engine. So some okay options for the forest, but no wetland bird is a real shame. So you see there is the bittern in the tray, and I have kept the food for that, with the idea that I'm going to take that. Now it's not the best wetland bird at the start of the game, because to be able to use its power you need to rely on your opponent having more wetland birds than you, otherwise you're not going to benefit from that. And the chances of that in the first round is quite unlikely. Most players are only going to get one wetland bird down, if any. So yeah, it's a little bit of a gamble, but I kind of had to go for it because I didn't have any options. Now my opponent did take a card, and that revealed the hummingbird. So yeah, I think, in a situation like this where you're kind of struggling with the cards you've been given, you've really got to pay attention to the tray. You've got to look at what's there, you've got to think, what is good for me, what can I make work, and certainly the hummingbird is a strong bird, so yeah, I was all over that. It did reveal another nice option, so the Wilson snipe is a really good wetland bird. But the problem for me is that it doesn't really work with this bittern, so I know I'm going to want to get this bittern down. It's a lot of points and has a good power if I can use it. And really I'm thinking, if I leave that Wilson snipe in the tray and my opponent takes that, that's probably better for me, because one, they're going to give me free cards with that snipe, so I'm going to get free cards without having to do anything. And two, if it's another wetland bird that they're building up in their wetlands, that's just going to help me with the bittern, and I can probably just run with that bittern for the rest of the game. So another card in the tray that caught my eye was this magpie. So not normally the kind of grassland bird I look to play. 2 food for 3 points isn't great, and usually in your grasslands you want those point scoring birds. You want something that's going to give you tuck cards or eggs or more food, like with the hummingbird. These kind of pink powers are not what you're looking for. But really what attracted me to this bird is that star nest. So you see the end of round goals in this, they are all eggs in different type of nests. So if I can get a star nest bird that's going to help me with all of those end of rounds, then that's just such a strong position to have. And really in general, I would say in a 1v1 game like this, you want to be paying attention to those end of round goals so closely, and you want to really be targeting them as much as possible, because every end of round goal that you win, you're scoring points for that, but you're denying points from your opponent. So it's effectively a double whammy on your opponent there, where you're getting points and they're missing out on points. So yeah, I kind of knew that magpie was going to be nice, just for that, but also it's another grassland bird, so if I am going to be laying eggs fairly regularly, even that magpie not scoring points on its own, just by being that second grassland bird, it pushes me out into that third column, so I can get 3 eggs a turn instead of 2. So it is still effectively going to score me points from that. So you see I get the hummingbird down, means I can lay eggs, and then look to get the magpie down on my next turn. So I'll just skip forward a few turns here, because it's fairly straightforward what I had in mind. Get that magpie down, I can have the food to get the titmouse and the vulture down. And certainly when my opponent's got a card like the screech owl in their forest, I want to be having these pink powers down, to try and maximise on that, and hopefully get some free food. So I did just have a quick look at my opponent's board there, and they don't have any platform nests, which is really nice for me. It means I could just lay eggs, so I can get 1 on this magpie, and that's going to get me 4 points, and my opponent's not going to get any because they don't qualify for this end of round goal. So that's already a 4-point advantage, and I haven't got a lot of points on the board, but I know as soon as I get this bittern down, I can gain food on that first turn of the next round, get that bittern down, and I've got access to cards and good access to food and eggs as well, so I feel like I'm in a strong position there. Now my opponent on this turn makes an absolutely critical error where they choose to activate their screech owl, and they get lucky and get the success on it, but really they get unlucky because that means I get 2 food. And I just think this is such an important point to, raise to newer players in particular. You get a point from that, but I've just saved a turn, and turns are your most valuable resource in Wingspan. So you only get 26 turns. If I can save a turn, I can then spend that turn later in the game playing big point bird or laying eggs for lots of points. And certainly in this situation, I already had that plan where I was going to gain food on that first turn of the next round and then get the bitten down on turn 2. But I now don't have to gain food because my opponent's just given me those 2 food for free. So I can play that bitten down and I'm a turn ahead. So, my opponent, maybe they gained a point for that and it's good for them in the short run, but that was so much stronger for me in the long run. And you see as well, my opponent, they played the Wilson snipe, which is exactly what I wanted. So they've got that 2 wetland birds out. It's going to give me free cards from the snipe, but I'm going to be getting extra cards as well from my bitten. And yeah, if I'm discarding that egg in the wetlands, I'm seeing 3 cards a turn, plus the extra ones from the snipe. And really that means I can probably avoid having to play another wetland bird for the rest of this game. Instead I can focus on playing big point birds, or nice point scoring birds in my forest and in my grasslands. So you see my opponent did draw cards. I got a free card from the snipe, which is the morning dove. I'll just skip forward a little bit here, just because my next turn was pretty straightforward going for cards. So got some quite nice options there, you'll see. Certainly the red start is a really nice bird to get. It's just going to help me so much for food access. It's that 3rd forester bird, so I'm already getting 4 points from that bonus card. And yeah, it's a 4-point bird in its own right, which is never a bad thing to get. So yeah, you'll see I'm sort of already looking a little bit towards this end of round goal, just making sure I've got the eggs in those cavity nests. So I do lay some eggs, and yeah, I'm able to get the free cherry from my hummingbird, which is good. So that already gets me halfway to the red start. So I do go for food on this next turn, and certainly there's food in there that I like the look of. So those worms and those seeds, that's going to be really good for me. It's going to help get this red start down, but also I've got some nice options as well for the grasslands, and I've got my eye certainly on the morning dove as a good option. And if I can double up with that sparrow, then I'm extending out into that 4th column now. So not only am I getting an extra egg from the morning dove's power, I'm also getting 1 just by having those extra grassland birds. And if I'm able to get 5 eggs from my grasslands, that's a really nice position to have. So it feels like a weak move playing those 2 birds. It's 2 points and I'm losing 3 eggs to get those 2 birds down. But it's really going to help me in the long run. You can see all these end of round goals, they're about eggs. So I want to be getting as many eggs down as possible. So if that means playing weak birds to help lay eggs later, then I'm okay with that. So you see I do go for food, I get the extra seed, I get another worm, so keeps my options open. All of these birds, they eat seeds or worms in some combination. So I can play the couple of birds I had planned now, I can lay eggs, and I'm going first in the next round. So if a really nice bird comes up in the tray, something that's going to work with the existing birds I've got, then I can look to play that. And yeah, I think keeping your options open is such an important factor to think about. Keeping my options open at the start of the game was so important because it meant I could get that hummingbird down and it put me in a strong position. So I think always having that flexibility in what you can do in your next turn is so critical. So yeah, you'll see I do go here for the double play, and again it's a bit of a shame only getting 2 points there and losing 3 eggs, but yeah, I'm thinking in the long term, and I'm knowing, okay, I've got 2 rounds left, I've got 12 turns, I'm probably going to lay eggs for at least half of those. So if I'm able to get 5 eggs a turn, then that's really nice. It's good point scoring, and like I said, it's going to help with those end of round goals as well, which in a 2-player game like this is so important. So I'll just skip ahead again. That last turn was just me laying eggs, and I did win the end of round goal. So going into round 3, some nice options in the tray. Like I said, I've set myself up in a good position. I can choose to go for cards here. I've got some good flexible food. Certainly I've got my eye on that Bell's Vireo. That star nest alone is nice, but the extra bonus card is good. And I've already got the worms to play it. So certainly, that's something I've got my eye on. Even just, if it wasn't good for me, it's really good for my opponent, because it's going to help them with the end of round goals as well. So yeah, even if I'm not going to play that myself, it's worth taking. So I get another nice draw there in the Dick Sissel, and at this point, I'm thinking, okay, if I can get that down, how many cards am I going to need to tuck behind it without missing any? So this is really kind of a crucial timing point to think about. I look at how many turns I've got left. I've got 5 turns this round and 5 turns next round. So if I've got 10 turns left, that means I'm going to need 10 birds, because I want to be either playing a bird or tucking a bird every turn. Now at the moment, I don't have 10 birds. I think I've only got 6 birds. So if I spend a turn now drawing cards, I can get 3 cards from my wetlands, and I've then only got 9 turns left. So it matches up. I've got 9 turns and 9 cards, and I know if I get that Dick Sissel down, I can run that Grasslands. It's going to get me a lot of eggs, it's going to get me tuck cards, so I'm going to score a lot of points from that, on top of it helping for this end of round goal. So I make the decision at this point, I want to get this down, and I've also kind of looking at that Avocet and thinking, maybe that's something my opponent might want to get down. Maybe it's going to help for this end of round goal, but also I think in their position, you see me setting up a Grasslands like this, you want these pink powers to try and benefit from that. So yep, you see I do go for cards, and I get a really nice draw from the deck in the Woodpecker. So I was looking at potentially the Crossbill or the Red Start as an option for that third Forest Bird, but yeah, if I can play that Woodpecker, it's going to get me an extra bonus card as well, which is so nice. It's going to get me 4 points from the existing bonus card, and yeah, who knows, maybe I get another strong bonus card along with it. So I think at this point in the game, this is really where you look to these kind of big point birds or bonus card giving birds. If I play something like the Red Start, I'm probably not going to be gaining food that many times, maybe once or twice. So 2 activations of the Red Start worth playing it? Probably not. Something like the Red Cockaded Woodpecker that's going to get me a bonus card, maybe that gets me 3 or 4 points. I'd much rather take that over something like the Red Start at this point. So on my opponent's turn, they go for cards, which means I get a free one from the snipe, and it's another really nice Forest Bird. So at this point I'm kind of thinking, okay, how can I max out this Forester bonus card? If I get 3 birds down that only live in the forest, and I've got plenty of good options, I can max it out and get 8 points, on top of those extra bonus cards, particularly from the Woodpecker and the Owl. Unfortunately, it does mean I'm not going to be able to play the Bell's Vireo, just because there's not going to be any space for it, and I know I'm going to be playing that Dick Sissel in the Grasslands. So it's a bit of a shame, but like I said, I've got some nice options. Even the Pleated Woodpecker that I picked up, along with the Red Start and the Crossbill, those are really nice options to have. So at this point, I know I'm going to be playing a Forest Bird, because I'm probably going to need to gain food once, just to at least get the food to play these birds down. So for me, it's kind of a toss-up between the Pleated Woodpecker for the extra eggs, or the Red Start for the extra food. So I can either take the points, or I can take the food and hope to get these birds down quicker. In the end, I do go for the Red Start, just because that extra food, if that helps me get down this Dick Sissel 1 turn sooner, I think that's worth it. But also, by the time I've got that 5th Grassland bird out, anytime I lay eggs, if I do have extra food, be that from this Red Start, or maybe from the Hummingbird later in the game, I can always turn those into eggs. So maybe it feels like I'm missing out on points now, but I know I can always pick up on those points later. And it's also another bonus, so maybe I can try and do something for that last end of round goal. I think my opponent is in a strong position there, so probably not going to have a great chance of winning that, but you never know. It's always worth putting yourself in that position, and even if it's not going to help me win it, if it signals to my opponent that I'm targeting it, maybe they have to play a weak bird just to make sure they win that. And so I can try and sort of dictate what my opponent's doing, even just by a simple little move like this. So just skip forward a couple of turns here. I do go for food, I get the right food for the Dick Sissel, and I'm able to get that down. So on this last turn, pretty straightforward. I can lay eggs. I know I've got more of these ground nest spaces than my opponent, so if I fill up both the star nest and the ground nest I've got, then I'll get this single tuck on the Dick Sissel, and that's going to be enough for me. So it's such a nice position. And I was able to get 1 rodent from the previous turn, and so now using that Hummingbird I can get the second one, and that's all I need to play that spotted owl. So all I'm looking for now is another food or a cherry or something that's going to help me get the woodpecker down as well. And yeah, like I was saying before, I'll be able to max out my existing bonus card, but also it's going to give me a couple of shots at seeing another bonus card, which is really nice. So again, skip ahead here, just the start of round 4 now, and yeah, just lay eggs here. I have the egg space, I can afford to lay eggs here. Now I don't get the cherry I want, but it doesn't matter. I can still get enough food to get the woodpecker down. So skip forward a couple of turns here to me getting the owl down, and yeah, I'll go for the bonus card, and it's a nice pull. Omnivore Expert for 4 points. I'll take that every day. I think any time you're playing one of these birds at the end of the game that gets you a bonus card that you have absolutely no chance of working towards, for me 3 or 4 points is the benchmark. So if I can get 3 or 4 points from something like that, I'm going to take it. And yeah, 4 points, really strong. And like I said, the owl was already a nice bird, helping for the bonus card, but that Omnivore Expert makes it even better. And next turn, I get the woodpecker down. Same sort of thing. Not as good a bonus card, Ecologist. Normally you get at least 4 or even 6 points for that. But again, between the two of them, 6 points in total for 2 bonus cards, 3 points each. I'm happy with that, and yeah, it's just maxed out my Forester bonus as well, so I'm in a really strong position. 14 points from bonus cards. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. So my opponent does play another bold nest bird. Maybe they were forced into doing that, but I think they did already have quite a lot of bold nest spaces anyway. So I'm glad I didn't think too much about this end of round goal. It's always better for me to focus on my own game and get those nice bonus cards. And yeah, I've got plenty of egg space now for these last 2 turns. I can skip the hummingbird, don't really need that food. If I give it to my opponent, they're either going to be able to play a bird or just turn it into food themselves, so there's no point in me using that. Yeah, I can just lay eggs a couple of times, and yeah, when you're able to activate grasslands like this, I'm getting 4 eggs as base from the grasslands, and then getting tuck card and an egg from the dick thistle, and then another egg from the mourning dove. So that's 7 points. And really, I think at the end of the game like this, if you're able to score 7 points a turn from your grasslands, it's just such a strong position. I looked at my opponent; they're scoring about the same. They set that up well as well. So yeah, really strong point scoring from us both at the end of the game. So as we go into the scores here, I'm feeling pretty confident. I know I've scored well in all categories here. So it feels like it's going to be a strong score, and yeah, good number of bird points, and 14 from bonus cards is so strong, and yeah, having that 7-point advantage on the end of round goals, really nice. I was able to target those well, got a lot of eggs from those last couple of turns, and a few tucks on the dick thistle as well to top it off. So a 15-point win is really nice, and yeah, 96 points. It's so strong, and I think all those points I made about saving that turn at the start of the game, that got me 7 points, because that was 7 points on that last turn that I wouldn't have been able to get if I'd had to spend a turn gaining food. I think there's all these little things that add up, but if you go back to that starting hand I had, where I just had the titmouse and the vulture, and that bittern in the tray, you kind of look at that and you think, oh, 96 is nowhere near possible. But I think this just goes to show that if you're able to make the best out of a bad situation like that, pay attention to what's in the tray, and yeah, make the most out of what your opponent's doing with pink powers, and target those end of round goals, then any score is possible in this game, even with the worst start. So yeah, hopefully this was a useful exercise. Like I said, you're going to run into plenty of bad starting hands like this, so being able to make the most of them is so important. And yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and thank you very much for watching.